Stupid Monkey Philosophy here. We are a division of the Trusty Ape Co. network of family of, I don't know, whatever it is we do. Trusty Ape Co. production. And tonight I am over here doing an impromptu react video to Chud Logic's video. I won't bother to link because it's a popular channel. You can simply search Chud Logic and find this very easily. It's his latest video, I believe, The Dark Side of Trans Culture. I found a lot of things here that were problematic, things that related to me in different ways, and decided to come on and do this because I don't think I've done a live react on this channel in a very long time. And I've got a few spare minutes on my hands, so we'll just get right into it here, and we're going to play at 1.25 speed, I think. Wherever that is, here we go. Okay, cool.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, we looked at a guy randomly, okay, and the long and the short of it is he decided to transition. He was like a photographer.
We randomly looked at a guy who decided to transition. So no longer a guy, doesn't identify as a guy in any case, but okay.
A YouTuber, and he just kind of randomly decided that he was going to transition all of a sudden, right?
Some YouTuber just randomly decided he was going to transition all of a sudden. I don't think that's the way that works. That's not ever the way that works. People don't randomly decide to transition. They have, you know, a set of certain experiences in their life that lead them to the conclusion that there may be something going on, right? And then they get this information that says, oh, this is what's going on with me. Other people have experienced this. I can find like commonality with this group, and then they realize that they are trans, right? Because they don't have the prerequisite knowledge to know that they were trans. They didn't just decide out of the blue. And furthermore, I mean, a YouTuber, you don't really know what's going on in the day-to-day of their lives and their backstory unless they are literally sharing that with you moment by moment, which happens sometimes, but still pretty rarely. So, okay, a whole set of assumptions going on there that are completely unfounded.
And I've got to say, it was a bit of a gem of content, I think. So I've got a few other videos I wanted to look at here, two in particular. The first one is from 2 months ago, and the other one is more recent. So here we go. Mickey C. It's Mickey C, dude.
I was the first one to ever join the military in my family. I knew that I wanted to go back to school and produce a big name. So to
Let's get into this.
So, how did dinner with the family go? Up and down.
Guys, I'm a woman. Dude. Oh, dude, I'm
Probably
trying
not really how those conversations ever actually go, but
I feel bad or something for this guy. But God, it's just so hard to do so, because it's like, you just got to wait, bro. Wait till your kids are growing up, at least, or your kids growing up. Seems very selfish to do this to me.
wait to be yourself until your kids are grown up. That's an important lesson to teach people in life. I think, you know, just put your identity, your goals, your aspirations on hold until your kids are grown up so that later on you can resent them, right?
When you have kids, I think that you do have to make, like, sacrifices, right? So, for example, I could feasibly see myself thinking, I want to go traveling for, like, 2 months, right? I've got the resources to do so.
Well, I mean, that's not the same as, you know, actually changing your mode of living. So you're just going to repeatedly make this fallacy throughout the video. I'll kind of give an explanation on it because I'm not going to go through it all here, but yeah, no. So just making some spur-of-the-moment decision temporarily to improve the quality of your life, right, whether that be traveling or whatever else, right, is far different from changing the whole mode of living. Right? It's more equivalent to like something like relocation, which like permanent relocation, which still isn't really equivalent, but that's closer to what you're talking about. We're changing some major factor in your life, in your life and your child's life permanently, as opposed to some whimsical thing you're doing, you know, at the spur of the moment. That's not permanent and not well thought through. Those are two disanalogous things.
Whatever, I could stream some of it and make some money. But the reality is, that's not plausible for me, because I've got kids, you know? And that's like a 2-month commitment. This guy's committing to being a woman for the rest of his days. and that's going to affect the kid over the time that they're a kid. And it feels so selfish to me. You might think, oh, but what if someone was gay? Well, being gay, I might have a problem with that thinking about it, but being gay is like not something your kids are going to be privy to, unless you're a pedo, and then obviously you've got other problems on your hands.
Breast.
That's not necessarily true. I mean, if you want the person that you're involved with to be to have a relationship with your children, there may be a point in being gay or lesbian or what have you, that you want your partner to get to know your children, and they're going to have to know that that's your partner and this is the lifestyle you lead, because that is affirming your own identity and your own set of choices, right? So it's something that is not necessarily something that needs to be like explicitly introduced to your child's. It is a lifestyle, but it's not something that you would necessarily have to educate your kids on beyond this is the person who I am partnered with, right? Like it's not a sex education thing, right? That's going to come later. But it is important to, I think most people, if not many people, I'm just going to venture to say most people, that they, if they have children and they want to have a relationship with their children and they have a partner other than the person who they procreated with, right, they would want their children to have some type of relationship with that person and understand what's going on there.
That they were here out of love and wanting to understand, which is not the worst reaction in the world, but then there was sort of this barrier and restraint put on me that I can't publicly come out on social media until my reluctant family feels comfortable with it.
I mean, it's a pretty big change, sis. Dude, this person is like such like an insight into the narcissism of like a certain transgender mind, you know?
So I think there's something two-pronged there, that there is a benefit to being reluctant to share all of your interpersonal information on social media, especially before those close to you are fully aware of what is happening, right? And to give them an adjustment period, this is appropriate. But at the same time, it is up to each person as they want to do it. And if you feel that it's a case where you are being shamed or kind of put into this corner where you can't do what you feel is right, well, then you should obviously go with what you feel is right as long as it's well reasoned. Now, be prepared to give sound and valid reasoning for why you made that decision, right? And also be prepared for those people not to accept it. So there are factors to consider with other people involved in your life who may be affected by this, and being compassionate towards them, as well as doing what you need to do for yourself. And there's some balance to be had there.
Me. Dude, it's crazy. Well, my family had some reasonable concerns and reservations. Well, I want to go on to put it on social media.
Which, are they ever? Probably not. I made the point that most people that start HRT have 3 to 4 months before the changes become permanent, and if they're...
I think that's on average. That's not even like, it's not well established, and it's different for each individual. Depends on what stage of life you're in. It's just so this is actually saying closer to 3 to 6 months for expected onset, and 2 to 5 years for maximum effect in some cases for like things like body fat redistribution and things like that. So this is like a widely, it just depends on the person entirely, and like saying anything otherwise is a bit ignorant. But this person is trying to be optimistic about how long it could take to begin to affect them in any like noticeable way, I guess. But yeah.
If there were any reason they need to back out, in that window they have, so that got twisted around as, okay, this is an experiment, so we have 3 to 4 months to see if you really like it, which, I mean, the regret rate is what, 1%, 2%?
And he's right on the money there. The regret rate is extremely low, literally negligible by any statistical standards, right? Like, you read stats, you go, how many people regret transitioning out of the people that actually do? And it's very, very low. It is 1% or less, I believe.
Yeah, I'm gonna like it because I know who I am.
Well, if you've got no kids, like, you can do what you want, right? I mean, you can go traveling for 2 months. You can transition. Just believe in yourself. You can be gay.
They still don't understand it. They still think that.
And he throws homophobia in there as well. He's blatantly homophobic throughout the video as well.
Maybe it's just a phase, maybe I'll grow out of it, whatever. So I don't know if it went
I mean, you've gone your whole life as a fella, and then there's a little blip where you think you're a woman.
totally well. I definitely feel
Yeah, I don't think that happens to anybody. Like, short of maybe like what is it, like schizoaffective or something like that. Like, if your identity seems to shift, like for some random period, you might be like, what happened there? Maybe I had an episode. Not the same as somebody who genuinely experiences gender dysphoria for most or all of their lives. And then has a realization, an epiphany that, oh, this is what's going on, and the cure for gender dysphoria is transition.
strained, and that has pissed me off to no end. Because this is not their journey, this is my journey, and for some reason, because I was outnumbered and manipulated 3 to 1, that I for some reason agreed to it for now. That will change.
That's wonderful.
Yo!
And I mean, so he has obviously already pent-up resentments about this. Mickey C, that is, and it's like, okay, putting that in perspective, again, there are other people who are going to be affected by this. Your close friends and family and what have you, right? They may need time to process, and after a certain time, you say, okay, I've given you time to process this. Right, and this is completely unique to the individual, but the obvious feeling of resentment is it's painfully clear here, and I can see that that's happening. But I can also see somebody is living a lifetime of feeling repressed, suddenly coming to this realization and then saying, well, nobody around me is validating this, right? So that's kind of a catch-22 there. I mean, yes, they're going to have their feelings about it, and we need to realize that, but also you're having strong emotions going on as well, and those need to be processed, and everybody's going to process those emotions in different ways.
It's so bizarre is seeing this trans narcissism from someone that looks like... like this. These look like a regular guy. They look like a normal dude. They look a bit like...
Yeah, he looks like a normal dude. He looks a bit like me. And this is a common misconception around trans people when they come out, especially, right, before they've actually made the inroads to transition. They say, well, you just look like a dude like me. Well, yeah, that's kind of the point, right? They've looked like you and they've acted like you for most of their lives or all of their lives, and yet they've felt different, and now they can describe this different feeling as being transgender and begin to make efforts to resolve that conflict within themselves. And then people like you come along and say, well, why can't you just keep being like me? I feel fine, right? Like, why don't you just feel the way I do? You look like I do, right? And this just goes to show you can't judge people this way. Outward appearance does not tell about internal experience. You have no idea what's going on in a person's head just because of the way they look or the way they present or what have you. And on any given day that might be different. You can only make like broad inferences into these things. And for you to just say that he kind of looks like me. Why doesn't he just think and feel and act like me? Is completely dismissive. It's ignorant. It's unintelligent. That's Chud logic for you.
Me, you've already been, and acting like this.
Future as it gets a little more intense. But yeah, it was not easy. I went in pretty defensive. They kind of lightened up, but at the same time, they weren't really accepting of it. They were very upset about it, disturbed, and weren't really just being happy that I was happy.
Yeah, I think we're going to later kind of find out this guy's in a fairly conservative part of the country. I'll skip forward a little bit because I'm not going to have the time or patience to do all of this. We'll skip to the 10-minute mark.
Yeah, looking for a new job. Asked the local pride group about some advice. They had some recommendations, so I'll go around tomorrow and...
Dude, it is fucking...
So I'm not sure. Apparently this guy lost his job or quit his job as a result of coming out. It was not entirely clear to me. I think he said he lost his job, but yeah, we kind of skipped over that part. Shitty, or this person who is now transitioning recently. I'm going with the flow here, but this person who is early in transition either lost or quit their job, and that's kind of contributing factor to all of these other things going on here. Family doesn't empathize, Chud logic doesn't empathize, and the job didn't work out. So all of these things kind of accumulate to make for a less than positive experience. I wish them the best.
I had trouble going to sleep last night because of how pissed I was. Last night was Monday. They were here on Saturday night. So after sitting with it, I only got more pissed and felt more restrained, which is usually not how it goes. But yeah, work around it and keep moving forward. The plus side, I think, is that it kind of dug me into the ground a little bit more about being proud of this. I was already very proud, ready to come out, happy, loving it, enjoying it. But I think what this did is...
Is that the gender euphoria they talk about or something? Some of this to me feels like it just kind of contests with some of the other claims that are made about this. The idea that you're like enjoying it.
Well, no. Gender dysphoria in this case is the discontent with one's, gender assignment, or there's various components on this, but gender dysphoria and body dysmorphia are two of the most commonly spoken of, right? And so those are two very intertwined but distinct concepts. One is that my gender identity doesn't match that which I feel, and the other would also say that my body doesn't feel like it's mine or like it is as it should be, right? And if you put those two together, you've got, I would prefer to wear a dress and have breasts because that is what is socially considered normal for the gender that I identify with in this case, right? But that's not the same in all cases. People can have very different interpretations around this experience and very different modes of dealing with it. But to simplify it, if a man feels like they are a woman feels like they're a man, a biological, their gender expression is different from their biological sex, and they would want to reconcile that difference or that conflict within themselves. And so it'd have to do that through some form of outward expression to society, right? Because you can feel it in your head and accept it in your head, but if other people don't recognize it and accept it, then it's completely a moot point, right? You're still forced to live in a body in an experience that does not feel like your own.
Like, maybe I could see the idea that you're living loud and proud, maybe, but like, I don't know, dude. Why are you enjoying it? Why does everyone need to know? What is going on there, buddy? What is going on there, milady?
Is it made me sort of like, I don't want to say dig in my heels more, because it's like that's what a lot of ignorant people do about beliefs that they're not totally sold on, but it made me a little bit more passionate, affirmed my development more. It kind of put me in touch with moving forward more.
Okay, that's wonderful.
So
But how do I make money off of this people?
It's the antithesis of fatherhood.
I put a couple of new stickers on my car. So
His super chats are going to get progressively worse, and I'm going to have some commentary around that
yeah,
too.
I'm kind of at the point now where
Stickers
I'm
on my
just ready
car,
to, yeah, let everybody know. And having been denied that, I'm gonna sort of react in a way that sort of, makes up for that
Dude, this
restraint.
music, man.
There's a word. I'm blanking on that word. But
Restraint.
anyway,
Not going out and telling everyone I'm a massive, you know what. It's restraint now. Oh my god, this is fucking absurd, man. Where did it all go wrong? We got old guys acting like this now.
that's where my journey is right now. There is some stubbornness. There's some prejudice. There's some hardship. Most of it is
Alright,
my
and
public
there's-
coming out, which fucking sucks. We'll see what happens. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, I mean, so this person is clearly going through like a really difficult time, and Chud Logic has chosen this particular person and point in time randomly, in scare quotes, because yeah, it just seemed apt to do. So yeah,
Yeah, I love the fact that the colours have changed, man. Anyway, guys, we need to get a prime image here for the transition. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So that was from a couple of.
we actually don't need that. We don't need pre-transition photos of trans people to try to shame them to prove a point. There's no logic in that, and it's just a cruel and terrible thing to do, and you'd have to be an immoral person to do such a thing.
Months ago, just to tee us in, remind those that we watched a few weeks ago, or maybe introduce you to this character. Okay. So what does 2 months, a bunch of HRT, and some social transitioning do? Here we go.
So once again, we did the research, and it says that it takes 2 months for the hormones to begin taking effect, and it can take years for them to get the expected result. Right?
Oh, they've had a shave. Let's go. Don't be mean, guys. Don't be mean. Okay, come on. At least they've shaved the beard off. I mean, to be fair, that is what we often will say: is come on, you got a beard. So they've taken a good, solid step forward in all of this. Okay. Oh man, some of these comments.
Well, yeah, I mean, a couple of months, hormones, and a good shave, if not some natural hair loss, would definitely be logical.
In from chat are pretty bad. He looks like someone's cancer-riddled grandma who's on chemo.
Okay, that's
Anyway, let's lock in and find out what's going on. So this is
Spooky, good to see you. Yeah, Chud Logic is a bit of a tosser. I mean, like, I had seen some, I know this guy's, a friggin' awful person to begin with. Sometimes you'll hear some good logic out of some terrible people, and then you'll hear the fucking worst logic, and you say, okay, this is my time to shine, because I could, for me, pretty easily, I dismantle this, just watching it, just how shallow of a person you have to be to go to this depth for content, it cannot be justified.
timeline progress, daughter transphobia, and more growth.
And good to see you, by the way, Spooky.
Hey all, it is Mickey. I am out a little before sunrise. I'm just walking around near where I live. I am blessed to live in Kelly, Wyoming, which looks like
okay,
this.
that's wonderful.
And
How do I make money
this
off
happens to be one of my favorite times of
Whoa! Thank you for the $5. A beautiful woman.
day. Getting the mountains looking like this, where they're just illuminated from.
Yeah. Not to be, he's not being sarcastic at all. But also, yeah, so it was Wyoming. I was saying that it's like a somewhat conservative area, but not like extremely conservative for as far as the U.S. goes. So a bit more of a mixed bag, but very rural area. And yeah, you've got some backwoods people out in Wyoming.
The sky and no actual sunlight. I love that look. So anyway, time for an update. There's been a lot going on, partially thanks to y'all, which is a good thing. Thank you. But also, I have noticed with HRT some growth. There's been a little more chest growth, which is really nice.
What are these games? What are they doing in these games? Like, what even is that? Okay, so so now Mickey C is just talking about their experience in transition very early on, like 2 months into transition, and Chud's going to be completely dismissive and go in a whole other direction, which is where this gets really, really gross. So yeah, trigger warning. I mean, huge transphobia and other just crazy, illogical misapprehensions abound.
Just imagining this fella in the mirror, admiring his new voluptuous breasts, going, "Ooh."
Yeah, and so this is like audio fellatio. He just interprets that this person is now, engaging in erotic fantasies about themselves.
Oh my god, bro. First order of business. My tits
I
again.
understand how a human being can actually be satisfied with their own body and not be obsessed with themselves, right? Because those are two completely different things. But Chud Logic will have none of that. Probably because he can't see his own penis. I don't know.
Bigger. Incredible stuff, man. Incredible stuff. Okay.
A little less tummy growth, and that. So my previous video where I talked about my tummy, some of you commented it's okay to have a tummy. Of course it is. Everybody's different. I did not mean to offend
The
anybody.
fatties were mad.
I didn't do that. Everybody is beautiful.
Also, that's another good point as well. The word tummy, okay? As a man, you've got no business saying tummy unless you're being cutesy with your missus or you're speaking to a young child about having a stomach bug. A grown man has no business saying tummy unironically like this. That is insane in reference to your own
amazing.
body. That is nuts,
Okay.
man. What is this guy's problem? Wasn't he talking about wasn't she talking about boy moding the other day as well? Good lord.
Everybody is different. I did not mean to.
Oh yeah, I think we skipped over that. The objection to the term "boy clothes" when referring to, obviously, stereotypically, like gendered clothing for males and females, or
say
whatever,
that
men and women, as it
Everybody
were.
should have a certain kind of tummy, because everybody is completely different, and I love that, and that's something
I think this is interesting. He made this point, and like personally, I take it or that they made this point. Excuse me. I mean, I'm going between Chud and the person we're actually looking at here, who I'm not familiar with at all, but Mickey, who is transitioning. So Mickey makes this point about the belly, and I've thought about this, because I am like a pretty lean person, and have been for most of my life. And anytime that I get a bit of a belly, I start to call it like a beer belly or a dad bod. And women around me, women who have seen my body, will say, no, that's not a beer belly. That's not a dad bod. And they will argue with me on that. And so when Mickey makes this point, I was like, oh, yeah, it's almost more like a Prego belly. Like, really, like, when I look at it, like, whenever I get bloated or something, I get a belly that looks kind of feminine. Like, I have, like, a weird build. Because I'm just not built to be... I don't know that, I guess, bone structure or something, right? But there's definitely something to that, like different physiology there.
celebrate, not criticize. So
I just thought as well, he's lost his job talking about admiring his beautiful, voluptuous new breasts in the mirror. This guy has replaced a normal job for jerking off to himself in the mirror with his new body, hasn't he?
So, yeah, that's the logic.
I love you all. And for me, it's sort of like there's always something missing when I look down. And seeing my tummy kind of thin out, that's sort of that puzzle piece kind of clicking back into place. So for me, it was really reassuring seeing that. And so now, when I look down and I see the more feminine rounded tummy along with the more feminine rounded chest.
Oh my god. Oh man. Oh.
Just can't imagine this person having tits. It boggles Chud's mind.
It's so bizarre to think about, dude, isn't it? And
Not really. It's not that bizarre. I've seen a lot weirder shit, to be honest with you.
again, to me, seems quite obvious that there is some weird sexual stuff tied up in this. Like,
Yeah, gender identity and sexual preferences could be aligned, but there's no indication that's necessarily the case here. You're jumping to wild, rash conclusions.
I don't know, man. Like, I can imagine, like, a woman, like, feels good about how they look. A man might feel good about how they look in the form of their own body. But, like, you're not going to get off on it in any way, necessarily. Right?
You could imagine it, but who's getting off on it, right? You're imagining that they're getting off on it. They didn't say that. You inserted that.
Right? I don't think you're looking at your own body getting off on it. But these trans people, they do, I think. They do get off on the fact that their body looks a certain way.
Do you think that, but you have no evidence to prove it?
Fucking AGP again. AGP raising its ugly head yet again.
It
Yeah, dude, you got to imagine the Patrick Bateman scene in American Psycho, but instead of a fucking
the actual narcissist psychopath.
fit athletic.
That's kind of also sort of how, a lot of body dysmorphia comes into play, is that,
I'm a hot wife now.
when you're a kid, I think any trans person will tell you this, when you're a kid, the signs are there. But if you don't have a person to talk to, if you don't have a good support group or something like that, those signs...
What we need is more children speaking to trans about...
Yeah, education. And it is. It's really a matter of education. If people are, able to communicate what's going on with them, they have people who are better informed on how to deal with those issues, right? It's like, back in the day, they just said, hey, if you're having, emotional, psychological issues, go talk to a priest and they'll pray with you. And then, over years and studies, science went, oh yeah, actually these people telling you're a sinner and making you repent and possibly victimizing you further probably wasn't the best way to go. Let's have people actually listen to the kids, see what's going on with them, and then try to talk to them and reason with them. And that actually worked, and it became psychotherapy, and then you have all of these, magnitudes of greater order of magnitudes, of people actually uncovering what was really going on, and then we get to this level, and he's like, no, I think we should just send this person back to the priest, basically that's the logic, I guess, and it's really, really nasty. I'm gonna skip forward because I can't tolerate really much of this, but very, very disgusting video.
The other thing that's going on is that my ex-wife...
From Chud Logic, I mean, of course. Not the original poster is fine. Chud Logic is a complete fucking asshole.
Here we go.
I know I said in an earlier update was very supportive and caring.
Yo, dude, I didn't even realise. I didn't connect this. I've not seen this. That last video was literally the perfect video to watch because it's an update to that about the ex-wife. So apparently the ex-wife is supportive, but now...
But some things have been happening, and you sort of look back on hindsight, it's like, oh, is she as supportive as she claimed to be? And I'm kind of starting to wonder. So, what initially happened when I first told her, despite the warm reception, is that she said a lot, why didn't you tell me? And for anyone whose egg has cracked, who knew? I didn't know. It's just this awareness we haven't come to yet. So that was one thing. Another thing is that a week later, she wanted to have a chat about it all, quote unquote, for our daughter's sake.
Okay, sounds totally reasonable. Her thought process is the kid. What do we do? Dude, that seems completely fair to me.
Now, how do we tell our child is one thing. I don't know, seeking explanations for a thing that might not have, an easy explanation is another thing. So yeah, we don't really know the context of this, but obviously you can't, Mickey feels, that there's some, inappropriateness in the way this was handled by the ex. We weren't there. We don't know. So.
And it's fine, okay, whatever. But then it kind of turned into this almost interrogation for 45 minutes where, she would ask questions and then just keep rambling over, rambling over them, not even giving me a chance to really respond.
Okay, I will be fair. That's really fucking annoying. When someone asks a question and they keep rambling over it, it's just ask the question and leave it at that. Don't fucking ramble. So I must side with the trans.
It's better than people that ramble without actually listening to the person they're talking to.
On that one point.
But that was a little weird, and then including that time, and every time I've seen her outside of just normal handing off our daughter, she has asked me, are you still going through with it? And I'm like, yeah.
Okay, so this spouse, and sadly is obviously, completely caught off guard, by my interpretation of this, and that's a sad story and not something to be exploited. Let's see if we can get into wherever he's talking about. I don't have timestamps. I just I went through this like right before we showed up here, or I showed up here. So.
But recently, apparently, our daughter went home to her crying and upset about things happening.
And he's laughing.
Oh yes, bro, because it's insane. Yes, it's fucking crazy, dude. What you're doing is fucking insane. Of course your daughter's fucking upset, dude. Oh my god, bro. It's like, yeah, bro. What do you expect?
Right. So people making major transitions in their lives could seem, it could be unsettling to people close to them. These things happen, they happen quickly, right? I think the important point is that, it appears that Mickey was honest here, up front with his family, his loved ones, or her family and loved ones. I apologize. I don't, whatever. That's, the language isn't really that important. The important part is the lack of any empathy from Chud here, and throughout. But it's just going to get worse and worse. And I think this is like where the rubber meets the road for me. And so I got into a spat with my partner recently. And we had a disagreement about I think I have a lurker at the door. We had a disagreement about certain what was like appropriate or inappropriate behavior in a certain context, and how either of us had handled it in the past, and how I thought we should conduct ourselves moving forward, right? And this person said, no, I've always done it. My partner said, no, I've always done it this way, and you can't ever like judge me for doing that, right? Because I've always done it this way. This is what indicates a particular marker, in this case, what is like being punk rock or acting punk rock or something, right? We're out at a show, at a venue, and my partner does something that I find, embarrassing. And then I say, well, we're older now. 20 years ago, sure, maybe we would have done that, right? Now we shouldn't be doing those types of things. I wouldn't do that, and I expect you not to do that. And they say, no, I did that 20 years ago. I'm going to do that now. Either you accept it, or you're not punk rock. Well, okay. I don't know. Is that an acceptable? See, I don't see it that way. And so I think this law of identity that says, well, I'm a punk rocker, therefore I'm always going to be this way. There's something there. And it's to say, oh, well, I live my life as a straight cis man from here to here. I'm always going to be this way. Right? That's incorrect. For people to assume that in order to identify as this thing means that I must behave in such a way and conform to this norm. Right? I see that as being incorrect. And I think we can always change our behavior. It doesn't necessarily change our identity. We can change our identity, and it doesn't necessarily change our behavior. Right? But basically, because I took this stance, which is a moral view, I was seen as being less than by this standard. Because now I'm dissociating from people who I formerly would have associated with based on what? Their behavior. Not their identity, their behavior. And that's a crucial difference here.
God, man, it's so sad for the kid. It's just absurd that he's like, oh God, yeah. And then my little bigot daughter, my little transphobic daughter, started crying.
About my transition. And on one hand, this is where the haters are going to be like, oh, see, I told you so. But on the other hand, the things she told me about what caused all this and stuff like that.
That lemon
Yo!
became a member.
Thank you for the membership.
And there's another aspect here, which is parental alienation, which I've also experienced, right? When I was going through times in my life in the past, and people had, taken custody of my kids, which is out of my control. That's fine. I even changed my behavior in order to be able to see them, right? But to those individuals, the most important thing was to erase me from my children's lives. And so they alienated me because they didn't want my children to learn anything about me. They only wanted my children to be informed about a moment in my life when I was vulnerable. And they would judge me based on that throughout the rest of their lives, so that they would never want to know anything more.
This is where the haters are going to be like, oh, see, I told you so. But on the
Exactly
other
what
hand,
happened.
the things she told me about what caused all this and stuff like that, it sounded a lot more like there was fear of her daddy changing into someone else. Which I told her at first, but at the same time, different experiences, time might have led her to believe something different.
Bro. Oh god, that is like it's literal chills up my spine of like the idea that your kid would fear you. Like, oh god, bro.
And the interesting thing about this to me is that, like in my case, I believe that I turned into a better person, right? And I would be judged by the worst moments of my life rather than the resilience of coming out of that, right? But that's not the way that the other party in these cases ever portray you, right? Because they want to retain control. And I think it's probably even more so in the case of this person, Mickey.
Horrendous, man. Oh, God, I actually do feel terrible for this kid. That is awful. What a selfish bastard, man. Can you not wait? Like, let's be real here, okay? Your body ain't going to get any different because of testosterone. At that point, it's the done deal. You're like late 40s, 50s, whatever. Can you not?
I mean, no, that's provably untrue. People can still transition at Mickey's age. It may have, varying degrees of success, but I don't see why that would be crucial to their relationship with their child, right? It doesn't change who they are as a person. It doesn't change who they were as a parent, right? It's not really a factor there. Now, the child may have to realign their intuitions or understandings of the world around them, but it's not really that big of an adjustment. There are so many lifestyles out there, and I think it's just the most closed-minded, myopic thing to say. And these fucking people, they always feel threatened. They think, and this is kind of where I'm going with this, right? I'll just get to it, because we're here. They think that for people to live differently than them somehow threatens their identity, right? It's not just, oh, well, this person, they're trans and they can just, no, it's like this person, they're trans and there's another trans person over there, and oh my goodness, soon everybody's going to be trans. There's a trans agenda, and they're trying to erase all of the cis white hetero males out there, right? Because they want to turn them all trans so they can destroy society, which makes no actual sense. Who thinks like that? Like, this is the most, like, Chicken Little mentality. You're just, oh my gosh, the sky is falling, when it's actually not. It's such a small percentage of people still who are trans, and they're not even trying to push other people to be trans. They're just saying, hey, we want to be accepted in society. But you think that by them wanting to be accepted in society, they're actually trying to destroy the society which they want to be accepted into, which makes no logical sense whatsoever. There's no evidence for it. It's completely irrational. And I think you're just a chicken shit. That's basically about some of that.
Not just wait, or can you not just do it in your spare time?
So,
do it can you change your entire life in your spare time? I don't know. Like, can you answer that question for me, bud?
definitely want to talk to her about that. Also because I mean, she's not really
Okay, that's
my
wonderful.
daughter, of course.
That's like a brilliant AI YouTube ad. Like, can you change your whole life in your spare time? Yeah, that sounds totally logical. Like, why not? Like 5 minutes every day, I'm gonna get like washboard abs and a huge penis, for sure.
Years old. She's beautiful.
5 years. Oh God, man, it's just dreadful. Totally dreadful, man.
In and out, and kids that age are not transphobic, because she was just telling me how one of her friend's brothers likes to wear skirts and dresses. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. And she's like, yeah, boys can wear skirts and dresses. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm like, of course not. So,
As long as you call it a kilt, no, everybody's fine with it as long as you call it a kilt or a toga. Otherwise, I don't know what to tell you.
she's definitely open to it, but given what my ex-wife texted me about what happened, it definitely sounds like there's a lot more fear about potentially losing daddy and becoming a different person, like mentally altogether.
I think it's about losing the person that you were attached to, which it seems an irrational fear, right? Which would be more attached to an adult. Children don't think that way. That is instilled in them by the fears of adult people who are like, oh no, this person's changing, look out. Like, children aren't thinking that way. They know by the way you behave.
So, anyway, point is, her mom wanted to have a chat. That's a double quote. I only have one finger on this mitten. Her mom wanted to have a little chat about how to move forward. And I told her, based on what you told me, it sounds like she's afraid that I'm going to change. And she said, yeah, but we should just have a chat, just to make sure we're on the same page.
Again, totally reasonable on her part. I can totally understand why she would want to be on the same page, and you want to collectively ensure that the kid's best interest is at the center of this. The fundamental conflict here to me is he is in a position where his best interests is being obviously put ahead of his kids, and that to me is going to cause conflict. And I don't know this woman. I have no idea anything about her. It sounds like she's more concerned about her, how it's going to impact her and the impact it's going to have on her, God, dude, it's just a mess, man. Horrible situation.
And that sounds like she has an agenda, and that she wants it to go a certain way, i.e. put this on hold so Cody, our daughter, can feel better. And
Yep.
that's not the lesson to teach a kid, is let's teach our kid that people will put their lives on hold so that they can feel a little more comfort.
Bro, that's literally what you're supposed to do as a parent. Are you fucking serious, dude? Oh, what the fuck, man? Yes. Now, obviously, there's a reasonableness with this, okay? But if it's about...
It's funny because these same people, this same guy would be like, okay, well, yeah, I put my life on hold for my kid, but wait, no, if I was to relocate for this particular job, right? Or if I was to fall out of love with my spouse, I found someone else, would you put your life on hold in that case? What if it was something that you knew was like a lifelong thing? Let's take the most extreme example. Say that there's somebody who was sexually attracted to minors, now has a child of the age they're sexually attracted to. Would you not put your whole life on hold to protect that child? Wait. So... And so that's feeding into whatever their thing is going to be like, oh, well, trans people this, gay people that, right? No, there's no correlation between them actually being attracted to minors. Most of those people are straight people, right? And so when they pursue their endeavors, whether it be having a family, right, usually they have those things in mind. So that's interesting. And, furthermore, like, again, to satisfy their own needs, they would take a higher paying job in a strange city and uproot their whole family and say, well, this is the way life is. But in any other case, if you're saying, oh, well, you're making this lifestyle change, say you're trans, say you want to be in a gay relationship, well, now you have to put your life on hold until your kids are of age and they don't have to worry about it anymore. But anything that I find socially acceptable from my standpoint, right? No, my kids have to accept that. That's part of life. That's part of growing up. And this is my responsibility as a parent. Where do you draw the line there? What is the distinction? I mean, I think this is completely insane. It's not only illogical, it's literally insane.
Transitioning, being trans and fucking... Oh, God, dude. Oh my god, man, it's sickening. It's fucking sickening, dude. Yes, you make sacrifices. That's the reality of having children. And it's not teaching them something. It's you do it for the benefit when they're particularly young. And then as they get older, you do gain more flexibility. Like, as they enter their teenage years, you do gain that flexibility. But yeah, this is very typical deadbeat dad behavior.
You gain that flexibility because they're out making their own bad decisions, right?
Yeah. It's just with a little flaw.
Yeah, you know. We'll go there.
It's okay to have these feelings. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to be confused. And people will, when people follow their bliss and people become the person that they've always wanted to be.
I'll tell you another thing too, right? You're always going to have, like, issues, disagreements, whatever, when it comes to, like, co-parenting with an ex, right?
Right.
You know? But the
Where
beauty
is
of this is that you have got this ability to just call your ex transphobic. The bitch ex becomes the transphobic ex, and it gives you this absolute justification within, like, progressive circles.
Yeah, so this is where I'm like, where is he coming from with this? Like, how did he get there? Like, I've never heard a trans person ever say anything like that. It's gonna it gets even worse. Not only is it just like an excuse to get out of the relationship, apparently, because they hate their ex, right? Because people just do that. They transition, from gender to gender just to get away from their horrible ex-partner. No, like, when has that happened?
Just completely move away.
Whatever. Destiny's, all that stuff. I don't. Destiny.
Where's the next part?
Transitioning to avoid child support.
Yeah, here we
you
go.
Make other people around you more comfortable. And
Transitioning to avoid child support.
Somebody says you're transitioning to avoid child support. What the fuck are you even talking about? Has that ever happened? I don't think that's ever happened. Citation fucking needed on this one. Has anybody ever transitioned to avoid paying child support? Is there any evidence to support that? Because I don't think there is. I think you're completely talking out of your ass. I don't think anybody ever transitions gender or changes sexuality to avoid child or spousal support. And, furthermore, I think there's, like, a lot of issues that go along with that. But, child and spousal support is typically, paid by biological males because biological males tend to be the higher earners, at least in the U.S., right? That's the way the system is formed. And the courts have a partiality to mothers, right, particularly. And so the system is built that way. It may be flawed, right, but I don't think anybody changes their gender or sexual preference in order to avoid paying child or spousal support. And I think it's a completely unfounded, illogical thing to say. It's completely ridiculous, and it shows you how, like, the lengths that these people will go to just to try to make some argument that sounds logical that's completely crazy against anybody who identifies differently than them.
Okay, that's wonderful. But how do I make money?
Oh my god, dude, it's too good, man.
so that's the lesson that people need to understand is
Like, think about it for 5 seconds.
you can't mold people into believing what you want to believe. It's like a lot of the haters on the comments. They try to weaponize their religion. They try to push their beliefs onto other people, not realizing the only reason you're pushing your beliefs onto other people is because you want to feel more company in your beliefs. So you try to force it on other people because you're subconsciously insecure about your beliefs. So the more people you see around you sharing your belief, the better you feel about your belief. So yeah, that's that whole argument.
Like, validation, you talked about earlier, and yeah, like, validation is important. Humans seek validation, and there's nothing really wrong with that. Like, if you're constantly seeking validation, you may have, issues with insecurity and stuff like that. But seeking validation in general is a normal human behavior. If we're not seeking validation, then we're either way too self-assured, or we, are greatly lacking confidence, and you're on, like, one end of the spectrum or the other, which is like narcissism or depression or something. I think that's all we really need to watch from here for now. And besides, it's 10 o'clock. Chud logic is fuck a fucking asshole. And that's about it. I may repost on the other channel. I'm not sure. I felt like I needed to say something about this. So, all right. With that, happy Monday. Much love, be well, and stay trusty. And we'll see you, whenever we see you. I'm sure I'll be back at some point in the near future. I'm like herpes. I don't go away, or I keep coming back. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's one of those. All right. Bye-bye.